And in 3, 2, 1. From KQED News, I'm Mina Kim. Poet and author Maya Angelou has died at her home in North Carolina. She spent many formative years in San Francisco and was a good friend to veteran KQED journalist Belva Davis. When Davis hosted her last show for This Week in Northern California 18 months ago, she interviewed Angelou. Ms. Belva Davis joins me now. Thank you for coming here to talk about your dear friend.
Thank you. It's a privilege.
Why was it fitting for you to include a tribute to Maya Angelou in your final show?
Because I learned from her, from how she conducted her life, that it was built upon friendships, upon people that she met, that she liked, that she found something in and wanted to be around. And I also realized that I wouldn't have gotten anywhere without friends like her.
In your interview with her, she says this.
Courage is the most important of all the virtues, because without courage, you can't practice any other virtue consistently. You can be anything erratically, kind, fair, true, generous, blah, blah, blah. But to be that thing time after time, you have to have courage.
I wonder, what fears and obstacles did courage help her overcome?
Boy, I think she was willing to face up to life's challenges. And she faced them up always with dignity and with determination, but with the will to be flexible when that was needed. She was a tough woman. She didn't like phony people. And you soon got your comeuppance if you really tried to, blow yourself out of proportion. But for those people who she admired or liked, there was nothing that she would not do for you.
You knew her for a long time, and I mentioned her early life in San Francisco. She had varied experiences, some of them difficult. How did they shape who she ultimately became, this huge cultural figure she became?
I think coming from where she rose, and that was from being, a mute for many years, and having to fight her way back into the verbal family, I think taught her about struggle in a way that was deeper even than being a black woman from the South, because that was a barrier that was unique, but one that she somehow figured out, even from her age, which she was young child back then, that there was redemption. Because part of her problem was that she felt guilty about what happened to the man who had been accused of raping her as a child.
He was killed.
Yes, he was killed. And she felt that if she had not told, that he might have been alive. So she stopped speaking for a great long time. But that kind of courage even served her well moving forward in life. It's where you're really at the depths of not even being able to express yourself. Because to get out of a ditch, you almost need a partner, a listener, to help guide you out.
You were with her last month for an event at the Smithsonian and also for her birthday. What will you remember about her?
Oh, my God, how dynamic she was. I think they taped it, and you would not believe she had had a problem with her heart. She had canceled her entire summer tour because of that. And yet she was on stage reciting and strong and singing and in a wheelchair, commanding this room as though she could just, like putty in her hands. She was a woman that I don't think there is a frontier of human relationship that she would not take on, whether it was good or bad. But she would face up to whatever the problem. And that's the way it was with her and her physical limitations, that she was willing to face up and handle them to the best of her ability at that moment. And it was good to see her surrounded by Oprah and the Glamour Group, and they all turned out and surrounded her on stage, and she seemed so pleased.
How did she shape your journalism? Did she shape your journalism?
Well, only by always telling me the best I could do was the best I could do. When I was doing the best I could do, be happy with that. Because it's what you're doing, what you're capable of doing. What she could not stand is not exerting all that you had to give to a problem, no matter what it was, whether it was writing a script or writing a book. You had to give it yours before she was going to give you too much of her.
Do you remember when you met her?
Cannot tell you, because she's always seemed to have been in my life. When she was doing television here, I was just breaking in to news reporting just across town. And there, this giant of a woman was showing me every day that, we could do that stuff, even though it wasn't gathering a news story. It was with her drama and with the way she carried herself. I learned so much from just not being so afraid to seem prideful.
And why was that a fear, to seem prideful?
Because I've always been, actually, imagine a woman in my position, I have been shy all of my life. In high school, I was always at the back of every line. And I think she was probably helpful in getting me to acknowledge when I had done something well and to feel some joy from it.
Yeah, it feels like she really embodied a certain sense of self-love.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
And it was quite a journey, I'm sure, for her to get to that place even with herself.
Oh, my goodness, yes. That is why I think that being blessed with a skill to write was probably her greatest skill, because it allowed her to put on paper, which is, now that I've done a book, a form of the best therapy that you can have. Because to write those lines about yourself and a biography of your life makes you face up to your life. And that, therefore, you have to work out whatever that problem was you're writing about within you, and to decide what of that you want to live on after you by putting it into the written word. And I think I learned that from her.
Is there anything you want to say that my questions didn't get to?
No, I really, because I'll be getting near sobby.
How are you doing?
I cried all morning. I just couldn't stop crying because I knew she was not well, but she just seemed so invincible. I mean, so many health problems. If people knew how much pain that she had, and what the struggle was around all of that, it was just amazing, the example she set all the way. Yeah. So I don't know where I will turn in the really, really most difficult moments, because I could always call her. And I think that's the way she is with her other really close friends. I think that's why the Oprahs of the world consider her the second mom, because you knew no matter how good or how bad it was. I found it harder to call her when something was good than when it was bad. But I think she's used to that, too, from friends.
Yeah.
I have to say, you cannot think about Maya and her gifts to you and on your behalf without getting teary, because I don't know of anyone else with the capacity for understanding, clarity, and it just makes you sobby. That's all. It really does. So,
Well, it means a lot that you were willing to come in. So I'm sure,
this was
so
good.
very raw.
This was a Maya move. This is good. This is what I need to do. I know that. I'd rather stayed home in bed myself, but she deserved whatever energy I had to be here. And I'm happy you called.
Thank you so much.
Okay, guys. I know now you have the edit part.